Follow is the recap from the latest Supervisor Summit held Friday, March 14th on East Campus.
As you well know, our summits begin with one quick question. That's, what if we loved our supervisors? Supervisor Summits offer us an opportunity to connect with all supervisors and provide them just-in-time information about key policies, events, new procedures, new processes, or services that are available to them.
The Supervisor Summits are held quarterly, and the upcoming Supervisor Summits will be July 18th and November 14th. If you missed this summit, we hope you'll join us for these upcoming events. At this summit, we talked about updates from the employment team. Jennifer Page and her team followed up with some information about the latest updates and training and additional resources regarding selection and hiring.
We also discussed some development opportunities that are available through the Edge, both for face-to-face or online courses. And we had our partner, Carolyn McMorran, speak about continuing education updates and a new schedule available for courses coming up at the Lake Nona campus.
The brand new performance development process called the Checkin, which will replace the current PDP process, was revealed for the first time.
Last but not least, our partner Leslie Golden came in and answered questions on any legal updates.
Jennifer Page and team kicked off the summit with the selection and hiring process overview. They talked about the pre-recruitment process, the newest selection and hiring training, which is available in the Valencia Edge, online screening techniques, interview and selection software, and the Valencia Forward. They provided an overview of the recruitment, selection, and hiring checklist for hiring managers. They reviewed the Valencia Forward and showcased HireView, the newest recruiting software available to supervisors.
Remember, if you happen to be a hiring manager or you're going to be hiring for a new position soon, contact Jennifer Page and team to find out what are the options available to you.
Next, Carolyn McMorran gave an overview of the latest continuing education workshops that are being offered on the Lake Nona campus, designed for personal and professional growth of internal employees.
The dates range from March 28th through June 12th, so go ahead and check out the new Valencia College Continuing Education website to register. We also learned about the classroom schedule that's available for Valencia Edge. All supervisors received a printed schedule for the next few months' worth of training. And we also unveiled the online course schedule, which is available inside Atlas by navigating to the Employees tab, launching the Edge, and clicking on the button that says Online Courses Schedule.
There's also an electronic version of the classroom schedule in the Edge as well. So if you didn't get a hard copy of the schedule, you can access it electronically anytime via the Edge. And finally, we talked about the Checkin, Valencia's new performance development process. The PDP is now becoming the Checkin, and it's still really all about the conversation. To be engaged, to be prepared, and be supportive. The employee development team provided a list of questions to consider, documents and information you'll need to bring to you at your next performance review conversation, and went in depth about how to remove roadblocks and encourage the development of your team.
The beginning of the year check-in is the very first step. This is what happens at the beginning of the process, and it's a single three-step process that all supervisors and employees will go through. As you'll notice from the screen, all employees kick off this step by answering key questions that help prepare both of you for a conversation. There's also the opportunity to self-rate and comment on competency levels for employee competencies and supervisory competencies, and to set performance and development goals.
This should be done before the online process begins, during a conversation between supervisor and employee. So everyone's on the same page as far as which questions to answer, which competencies to review, and what the goals for the coming year are going to be.
Next, the supervisor is able to review all of the content and information, sit down with the employee, set all of the goals, and kind of approve and summarize or document what that conversation entailed. Last but not least, the employee can then review everything that has been written and acknowledge the receipt or the completion of this step in the process.
Then, later in the process is the mid-year check-in and the end-of-year review. During the mid-year check-in, which will happen approximately 6 months after the kickoff, the employee will begin this step in the process as well by updating progress on goals.
The supervisor can then review or edit the progress, provide comments if needed, sit down and have a conversation with the employee, and document that conversation in the mid-year supervisor review.
Similar to the beginning of the year process, the employee will have the opportunity to review the supervisor's notes and acknowledge this step in the process.
The end of year is very similar to the mid-year. Notice that it's almost like a 3-step process every step of the way. The employee kicks off, the supervisor reviews, and then the employee acknowledges. So, at the end of the year, another progress on goals. The supervisor reviews that progress, meets with the employees, wraps up the year, and updates or documents in this online format any concerns that have been addressed, any information, recognition, any key points that were discussed during this wrap-up conversation. Finally, the employee is able to see this, download a copy of the check-in, if they would like, in Adobe Acrobat or a PDF version of it, and acknowledge completion of this year's review.
And at that time, the acknowledgement and the whole PDP.
At that time, the entire review gets submitted to the HR team for review and saved for posterity. The beautiful thing about this digital system is that employees will be able to access historically previous PDP files. They'll be able to see trends in how they've completed their goals over time, and how they have progressed and grown through the questions that are asked in this check-in process.
Another benefit of the online process is that in employee development, we'll be able to program and support the development needs of all employees college-wide, because at the beginning of the process, we'll be able to see what goals are set so that we can arrange professional development accordingly.
We also discussed the timeline for this check-in. This really all began with you. We had a group of supervisors and employees that got together back in 2012 and reviewed what changes and what desired ideas we wanted to implement into a digital evaluation process.
Over 2013, we created a prototype based on the committee recommendations and system configurations. We showcased this to the pilot group over 2013, the beginning of 2014, and received a lot of feedback, and we think we really have it at a great point, and we're ready to begin training and rolling out the new process by division.
So stand by to hear more from your VP or AVP or department head about when you will actually be going through training. Keep in mind that our team is going to work with each division for a period of about 2 months each to ensure that we are able to roll out this process in a consistent manner throughout the entire college over the course of the 2014-2015 year.
And finally, Leslie Golden joined us to talk about featured policies and topics of important legal matters. She also talked about the policy spotlight column that is featured in each edition of the supervisor segment, the e-newsletter for supervisors that's delivered the second Thursday of each month.
And that was it for this particular summit. We look forward again to seeing you at July 18th, I believe, is our next summit date. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us by commenting on the thread below or contacting our office at extension 8095.